So maybe that's good as a as a preamble to frame this idea of hard versus soft, or hard and soft. What are those, and how can we combine them, right, in a perfect balance, like peanut butter and jelly, right? Not either or, right? And then maybe you prefer crunchy peanut butter, right, etc. And so actually that's a good example, because it's a personal preference, right? And some people say when you're younger, right, and you have more muscular power and force and more testosterone, whatever, so you do more external hard style. But if you're 80, right, can you still apply yourself that way, right? Maybe you move more towards soft internal style, right? But again, some people have issues with the word, like they don't like the word soft, right? Because it connotes flaccidity or something like that. They have some kind of cliche or stereotypical pet peeve with certain expression. Yeah. And so
like sorry, but even in terms of martial arts, some people, they, like, for instance, WingChun or Tai Chi or these other martial arts, WingChun in particular, they would say it's a soft, feminine martial art. And some of that maybe like just comes from part of the supposed history. But, oh, I don't want to practice this. This is a girly martial art.
Yes.
I want to practice karate or something like that. So it's pretty interesting, like how you would interpret and view things that will, I guess, influence in how you would practice what martial art you would practice, right?
So, notice I didn't say masculine or feminine, because that's also kind of, it's fine, but nowadays there's a lot of discussion around kind of gender energies. Actually I prefer the word energy. It's like, it's not about your gender per se. I don't care what you identify with that, but I mean, yin or yang is actually a good, it's more all encompassing, right? You say masculine and feminine, some people get triggered, by whatever direction, like some macho dude would be like you said, I don't want to do something girly, but and so to me that's just kind of either misunderstanding or just kind of limited thinking. And ultimately, like for martial arts, it's about efficacy, right? And if you only have one side of the system or one side of reality that you're playing with, like that's limiting, right? It may work within a narrow scope, right? But if you want to expand your range, then I would say it would do well to always inquire. Let's not say be necessarily doubtful or insecure, but inquire about your own preconceptions, and sometimes turn it upside down, flip it backwards, and see, right? Like that's from art too. Like sometimes if you're doing a wood carving like I do, you see it one way, but try to turn it upside down. Like, oh my God, the face is completely asymmetrical, right? Or you use a mirror and you're like, oh my God, okay, I thought, right, that it was correct, or balanced, but oh my God, right? And so that takes, what does that take? You can say courage or curiosity or creativity. And I don't know, some people may not feel safe to do that, right? And so there's a lot of kind of issues around concepts and words that we can get stuck around.
And so that I guess goes into, like what I was saying, a lot of misconceptions, because like, and you mentioned some of this when you were speaking just now, hard and soft, internal, external. Some people, they there's multiple interpretations. So like, I guess, what would soft be, like mystical chi energy versus something else, or hard style might be striking versus grappling, right? Or
so that's
go ahead.
No, I mean, that's why I like to think in terms of frameworks and principles, right? Because I haven't experienced everything, right? And so if you just focus on, I mean, we share experience, right? Which is like, I think I use the model of the bottom of the mountain, like down here, where there's a lot of gradations and separation, 360 degrees, right? Whereas you move up towards the peak of that cone, right? It's like there's just one peak, right? And so if you just focus on the forms, right, and the words, right, and you aren't able to simultaneously sense or even just conceive, like, I haven't seen all 360 degrees, right? What this person is saying sounds crazy to me. It sounds polar opposite to my experience, but it's a pretty safe assumption if you can kind of and test this out in your experience, in your work or in your relationships. Can you conceive that there's a unity? There's something that is actually behind all this diverse expression. And again, not have an either or, like, I just want to stay in that oneness, and that's fine, and not kind of go into the prism that reflects all the different colors, right? That's fine. Some people want to stay there. But again, since we're having discussion, for me, I love actually kind of going upwards and kind of going, to find that unity. Like I said about the spiral, right? I think all movement can be registered or analyzed according to the spiral. And also then see how that can play out in many different modalities or different kind of expressions.
Yeah. So I guess what you're
I hadn't thought about the one, like you said, okay, yang is more striking, right? Because you're upright, more towards the sky, yang, and grappling, it's more yin because you're more horizontal, right? I mean, that's great too.
Yeah, I never thought about it that way. I was thinking more striking because it's more like contact, and grappling is, I guess, a softer contact. Right. How you define soft, I guess.
Yeah. So again, it's very personal, right? And I think everyone, if you use this, if you throw this question to any of the other million martial artists out there, what is hard, what is soft, what is internal, external, like they would have different definitions, and no one is completely right. Everyone is partially correct because I acknowledge every experience. It may not be my experience or what I choose as a subset of all possibility to practice, right? But I want to respect other people's, priorities and values, right? And that's the thing, right? What behind all the different expressions, right, is this concept of value, right? I have my value, right, and the way it expresses may be different than another person's value, but the key thing is that there is this thing called value. Right. And so even though the expression is completely opposite, right, we can both respect that we have things that we value. How about that, and go from there. Yeah. So maybe not necessarily, agree to disagree kind of thing, but but I think, part of the cultivation bit is that I think in history, there have been people more that I admire because they have evolved, let's say, to be able to hold opposites in their mind, right, and not just go down to the either or conflict. But I think many people, they don't have the bandwidth, maybe because life is just overwhelming and they have a lot of trauma or disadvantages, and so they're just overwhelmed. They don't have the capacity, and so it does take practice and kind of intention to be able to hold more than one thing in your system. It's not easy, and in the past, maybe, we hear maybe those are the saints, those are the sages, those are the more realized Homo sapiens that were able to do that. And in the past, maybe it was like 0.001% of us. But hopefully, either through the path of martial cultivation or any other path, yoga or breath work or meditation or anything, or even art, right, that we can have more humans, maybe eventually 1%, 10%, who are able to acknowledge the multiplicity, or what I'm calling the unity of dualities. Yeah. Otherwise, it's gonna just keep degenerating.
Yeah, and I'm even thinking, it came to me just now. It's like, even if you see like Chinese movies or about martial arts, let's say, there's a type of like nationalistic thing going on too. Like,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
example, the
Yes.
Chinese martial arts are more like
Yeah.
flowy and
Yeah,
flowery,
yeah,
and the Japanese are more linear, and which
yeah.
is totally like, okay, Wing Chun is known for being linear. There's
Yeah,
Aikido, right, more circular. So it's, you can debunk
yeah,
that pretty quickly, but that's the type of thing that gets played in the culture. So it's pretty
yeah,
pretty
you're right.
interesting.
Yeah, nationalistic or even propagandistic, like, okay, of course, when you make a movie, I mean, it's like translation, it's all interpretation at some level, like what you
Yeah.
want to kind of depict the image. Yeah.